Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your cravats and polish your monocles, because today's story is not just about a Ferrari, it's about a shape so peculiar, so aerodynamic, and so wonderfully impractical that it looked like it rolled out of a science fiction film directed by a sculptor. It was built for speed, designed by a man who used to think in the language of wings, and raced by a textile heir in a brown double-breasted suit. It was nicknamed the Egg. But this was no soft-boiled breakfast ride. This was a Ferrari meant to crack the competition wide open. Before we scramble into this egg-shaped bullet of a machine, give that subscribe button a solid smack, like you're trying to get an old carburetor to behave with nothing but rage and a wrench. Either way, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's rewind the tape to Italy, 1950. 4 brothers named Marzotto were living every post-war racing enthusiast fantasy. Fast cars, faster circuits, and unlimited family money from textiles. Among them, Giannino Marzotto stood out, not just for his driving talent, but for his refusal to wear anything but tailored suits while doing 150 miles per hour. His love affair with Ferrari was passionate, competitive, and just a little bit dysfunctional. Giannino had already won the Mille Miglia once and wasn't shy about reminding you. But when his Ferrari 166mm got wrecked at the Mille Miglia in 1950, he didn't just fix it. No, he transformed it. Instead of calling touring or Pininfarina, he rang up Fontana of Padova and a sculptor named Franco Reggiani, who normally bent metal into things that flew. Together they created something with the curves of a glider, the practicality of a submarine, and the swagger of a Milanese playboy on payday. The result? One of the most singular, slippery, and unforgettable Ferraris ever built, the 166mm 212 Export Uovo. And why Uovo? Because from every angle it looked like a titanium Fabergé egg on wheels. But this yoke was no joke. Giannino wanted to beat the best by building better, lighter, faster, and with zero regard for tradition. The bare chassis, number 024MB, was handed over to Fontana, where Reggiani wrapped it in a perilumen skin stretched over a reverse tubular structure. That made it a whopping 150 kilograms, 331 pounds, lighter than comparable Ferraris. To go with its crash diet, the Uovo had a 156 litres, 41 gallons fuel tank for over 550 kilometres, 340 miles of range. Critical in races like the Mille Miglia, where gas stops could cost victory. It debuted at the Giro di Sicilia in raw aluminum with a windshield so upright it looked like it belonged on a streetcar. Inside, the Uovo featured triple Weber carburetors feeding a 2.6 litres, 158 cubic inches Colombo V12, which Giannino claimed made 186 brake horsepower, more than Ferrari's own 4.1 litres, 250 cubic inches cars in some conditions. The engine sat front mid, backed by a 5-speed manual gearbox, all mounted on Ferrari's short 2,250mm, 7 feet 4 inches wheelbase frame. Up front, double wishbones and a transverse leaf spring kept things civilized, while a live axle and Houdet hydraulic dampers out back kept it just barely on the road. The brakes? Drum style, but with a regulated dial to balance things mid-race. The wheels? Classic Barani wires, because if you're going to risk your life at 140 miles per hour, 225 kilometers per hour, you might as well look stylish doing it. And about that driving position, Giannino followed Enzo Ferrari's advice and mounted the seat as far back as possible to better feel the tail. A noble idea in theory, though in practice, it made the car oversteer like a caffeinated go-kart with trust issues. When it rolled up to Brescia for the 1951 Mille Miglia, now painted and polished, jaws dropped. Period photos show the crowd practically orbiting the car like it had its own gravitational pull. And it wasn't just a looker. It was a rocket. Giannino led the race by 30 kilometers over Ferrari's own works team car before his tires started falling apart. That's right, a privateer car, shaped by a sculptor and commissioned by a count, was humiliating Ferrari's factory entry. Somewhere in Maranello, a few engineers probably started updating their resumes. The Uovo never won the Mille Miglia, but it came close, and it did take first overall at the 1951 Coppa della Toscana and the 1952 Trento Bondone Hill Climb. By 1953, the car was shipped to Mexico for the Carrera Panamericana, but it never ran. It ended up in California, owned by newspaper publisher Ignacio Lozano, who raced it at Torrey Pines, Pebble Beach, and Willow Springs in 1954. Not bad for a car that looked like it should be parked outside a modern art museum. In the decades that followed, the Uovo passed through a string of passionate hands: Pete Lovely, Dave Andrews, Harvey Schaub, and finally collector Jack Dugan, who shipped it to England for restoration just in time for the 1986 Mille Miglia retro event. After a second appearance in 1987, it was acquired by a new owner who returned it to Italy, where it became a star attraction at Ferrari's 50th anniversary in 1997, the Marzotto family gathering in 2013, and the Museo Enzo Ferrari in 2014. The wooden scale model used by Reggiani in the design process was even tracked down and reunited with the car, because some people collect stamps and others collect history. Now on to comparisons. In 1951, Ferrari's own 4.1 litres works entries were the gold standard, but here was a privateer Frankenstein car with a smaller engine built by a sculptor that managed to outrun the factory boys for most of the Mille Miglia. On paper, the works cars had more torque, more factory support, and shinier shoes, but the Uovo was lighter, slipperier, and braver. And let's not forget, it won actual races too: the Coppa della Toscana, the Trento Bondone hill climb, and placed 4th at Avus. This wasn't just a science project, it was a contender. Meanwhile, mainstream Ferraris, like the 166mm or 212 X Sport, were still relatively conservative in shape and configuration. They were beautiful, no doubt, but the Uovo didn't care if it was beautiful. It cared about breaking air, skipping refueling stops, and embarrassing anyone who underestimated it. If Enzo Ferrari ever had a moment of private admiration for something outside the factory, it might have been when this thing passed him with 30 kilometers of smug distance. Now about that price tag. Since this was a one-off Coachbuilt machine, it never had a proper sticker price, but a 1951 Ferrari 212 X Sport had a US list price around $11,000, which today would be roughly $139,000. But the Uovo? It didn't sell like a regular car. In 2017, RM Sotheby sold this exact machine, chassis 024MB, for a wallet-vaporizing $4,500,000. As for current value, it's the kind of car that rarely appears in public, let alone at auction, but if it ever does again, bring an armored truck. And now for a few facts. Its windshield, upright and made of crystal, was praised for being reflection-free, unless it rained, in which case you just had to drive fast enough for physics to do the wiping. One period photo shows the world's tiniest wipers trying their best, like a chihuahua guarding a bank vault. And the interior? Spartan. If you wanted climate control, you opened your mouth and screamed into the wind. And if you're lucky enough to see it in person, at Salon Privé or Modena or whatever billionaire's garage it currently hides in, remember, you're looking at a sculpture that outran logic and nearly outran the factory. Big thanks to all our channel sponsors, especially those of you who hit that little join button and decided to support us with real human currency. You keep the lights on, the oil warm, and the nonsense flowing. And to the rest of you watching at home, may your fuel lines never clog, may your carburetors never flood, and may your own strange ideas one day outrun the expectations of even the fanciest mustache.